All in the game.
Hey, how y'all doing? It's Big John, and welcome back to It's All in the Game. So, the last few days, I've literally been spent the last 4 or 5 days trying to hammer out this video that started with a conversation between a friend of mine and I, and it's still not done. It's just full of too many statistics. I hope I can get this motherfucker where I want it. But nonetheless, I haven't made anything in a few days, and I've been meaning to. So I'm sorry about that. Um, one of my hustles, one of the things I do in life is play poker. I play online poker. I usually play in 4 or 6 tournaments a day, and or 4 or 6 tournaments at a time. I don't do it every day, but when I play, I usually play 4 or 6 tournaments at a time online, and usually I'll go deep in at least one of them and make a little money. I'll usually min cash, so I'll make the minimum amount of money you can get paid in 1 or 2 of them, and then I'll bust out and a couple of them too, and usually I'll end up with a small profit, or sometimes I'll lose a little, sometimes I'll make a little, sometimes I do all right. But tonight I just got slaughtered every single tournament I played in. I started out running real good and just got my fucking ass handed to me the last hour I've been playing. It was a pitiful fucking sight. So anyway, I thought I'd talk about poker tonight. Poker as it relates to playing poker in prison. All right, so tonight I'm not talking about any social commentaries or any opinions or social truths. I'm just talking about life in prison. And one of the hustles I had when I was in the penitentiary was running a poker table. That was a pretty good hustle for me, and I made decent money doing it. When I was in there, still you could smoke, so tobacco was a big thing. Now, when you're talking about a hustle in prison, you're talking about making money a couple different ways. Either you're talking about real cash money, so you're talking about having one person transfer money, between his family and your family members, or maybe to your books, or you're talking about items that can be bought in the commissary. So you're talking about food items, cosmetics, or like I said when I was there, tobacco. I had a Foot Locker full of bags of tobacco, Black and Miles, packs of Newports and stuff. That was the main thing we used to gamble on, playing poker was tobacco. So for the entire time I spent at one institution, at a medium security level 2 institution in Michigan, I was running a poker table. So what that means, running a poker table, is you are the person that's in charge of the books. So people aren't just bringing all this shit to the table. They're not just bringing all this all this money to the table. So you have to know who you're working with. They're going to come to you and say, give me $5 worth of chips, give me $6, $8, $10 worth of chips or whatever. You're usually playing for stakes 25, 50-cent blinds or something like that. If you guys are poker players, you know what that means. And the way that the way we make poker chips in prison, I just have a deck of cards right here, is we'll take a deck of cards like this, just an old shitty deck of cards, and we'll tear them up. So a piece, a quarter of a card, say maybe that's worth a nickel. Maybe half of a card is worth a dime. Say a whole card is worth 25 cents or something like that. And you'll play 25-cent, 50-cent blinds. So as the person that's running the table, I'm going to come to the poker table with a big ass bag of poker chips, of torn up playing cards, and everybody's going to come to me, and I'm going to keep the books. So I'm the one that's running the chance of getting the gambling ticket if the police come in and bust us, because I got the books. I'm keeping the books. So I'm writing down everybody's name and what they're buying in for. And then at the end of the day, everybody brings their chips back to me, and I've got to go collect all the money that people bought in for, and I've got to go pay out all the money that people won. So I'm in charge of that. But and also what I'm also doing is I'm going to be providing hard candy, and coffee. I'll have coffee, so people playing all day long. We'll be sitting there 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day. People want coffee, I'll be having coffee for them to drink all day, having little snacks for them to eat and shit like that. But what I'm also doing, first and foremost, is I'm taking a rake. So I'm taking 5 or 10% of every single pot, that gets played. I'm taking 5 or 10% of that, and I'm playing as well. I'm playing in a very minimal amount of hands, though. I play just premium hands, and sit back and take the rake and make money. I ended up making 30, 40, maybe $50 a day. If the cards run good for me, maybe I'll make twice that even. But just running the table, I'm going to make at least 25, 35, $40 a day just running the table every day. And it's a pretty good little hustle. But you got to know what you're doing. People need to trust you, and you need to know who you're messing with, because gambling is definitely one thing in the penitentiary that will get people in trouble, get people fighting, get people stabbing each other, get people killing each other. People come to the table and they're just asking to buy in for chips. Turns out they don't have the money. They call that playing on ass. Y'all can figure out what that means. But that's what they used to call it, playing on ass. But that was a hustle I had in the penitentiary, was running a poker table. And I did that for the better part of a year. The last couple months I was there, there was about 3 or 4 other guys that would be there every single day at that table. There's usually full table, there's usually a full ring, 8 or 9 guys playing every day. But there was a good core, 3 or 4 other guys that were playing that last couple months I was at that institution. So at that point, we actually took turns being in the house every day. Like, it'd be my day one day and we would do it the next day. But for the first good 10 months I was there, that was my hustle. So that was life in the penitentiary for me back in 2004 or so. Take it easy, y'all. Be cool. If you haven't done it yet, click that like button. I appreciate it. I know some of my regular viewers do that all the time, and I appreciate that. And if you haven't done it yet, if you're a new viewer, hit that subscribe button. I don't want you missing anything, all right? Because we talk about some real important shit on this channel. Keep me filled in on your opinions in the comments below. I appreciate that. I try to respond to all the comments that people leave for me, and I appreciate it. All right, we're trying to build something here. So with that, y'all take care of yourselves. I appreciate you watching the channel. I appreciate you watching the video. All right, Big John told you so. It's all in the game.